All right, Florida State has played their last couple of games. They haven't been at full strength for either of them. And a lot of people have pointed to that as maybe an excuse or a reason why they've potentially struggled a little bit. They're so deep that they can withstand some injury at some really, really key spots. We told you how shallow they were, that the safety position this year. We've talked about the depth at offensive line, which they've been able to withstand a couple of injuries to true starters there. They've had some wide receivers that have been out or banged up all year. But Mike Norvell revealed in his press conference on Monday that it seems like just about everybody should be back or is very, very close to back for this weekend. We'll talk a little bit about what Mike said. We'll play some clips and we'll kind of speculate on what we're hearing. Now, as a reminder, we were told that Akeem Dent was looking more and more likely to play in that Clemson game. And I don't want to say that he suffered a setback, but I was even told by a really good source on Friday morning that he would be playing in that Clemson game the next day, or that it really appeared that he would be. And I very much trust that source. I do believe that that was good info. Again, I don't know if it was a setback or just not 100%. Anytime you're dealing with any kind of a potential hamstring, I get that things can happen. But it sounds like Akeem is one that is trending towards being back. Here's what Mike Norvell had to say on him specifically.
Good treatment. We're going to have a chance to get a couple guys back here this week. I know Akeem Dent did more last night. I feel very confident in where that could go as the week progresses. Obviously, we got to see how that plays out.
Getting Akeem back would be massive. Florida State's secondary is just not the same without him. I appreciate the efforts that other guys have put in back there. I love some of the young guys. I like Kevin Noles a lot. I like Barker. But I just don't think they are the same as a guy who's been in the system and played for this many years at Florida State. Dent does a really good job both in the run game, tackling, and covering over the top. He's a very good college-level player, and having him back will be massive for that secondary. You could look at some of the Clemson breakdowns, some of the BC breakdowns, and point them to Dent's absence. So him being back, hopefully this week, but hopefully not before he's ready, will be huge for the Noles. What about offensive line? Coach also spoke about Robert Scott a little bit, who has also been out. I'm not 100% sure that we'll see Scott back this week, but Norvell said, I think he's getting close. We'll ultimately see what that's going to be this week. I feel more confident than what I have the last few weeks, what that is looking like coming back. I'm not super confident that Scott is back this weekend. I've talked with multiple people who have told me they really just don't want to rush this. They are considering the opponent. They are thinking about who they're playing this week. If this was Florida, Miami, a game like that, maybe you push a little bit. But I think they're happy with what they've got on that offensive line. At times, the offensive line has been really good this year. At times, they certainly have struggled. But I think that they want Scott back, but only if he's 100% and only if there's no chance at re-aggravating that. Scott was probably the guy that Norvell seemed the least confident on this week in talking about who may make it back into the lineup for the Noles. There's some wide receivers that have sat out as well, and this is where I think I'm the most encouraged with Mike Norvell's update. Before we get to that, I do want to give a little bit of a love to our tailgate this weekend. If you're watching this as the Noles get ready for Virginia Tech, make sure that you come out to our tailgate if you're going to be in Tallahassee. Sold out stadium. It's going to be a ton of fun out there at Doak Campbell. We put on a massive party in Orlando. This one's going to be a little more chill, but still with all of the same fun stuff that we had there in Orlando. We're going to have several different players of other sports, some coaches, of course, Guthrie's, bourbon, liquor, beer, whatever you're looking for, we will have you taken care of out there at the tailgate. You can go to doublefriesnoslaw.com, click on the store, you'll see it, and come hang out with us. We have a great time out there right outside of Doak Campbell Stadium. You will not be disappointed. Go to doublefriesnoslaw.com, get your tailgate tickets, and come hang out with us this weekend. All right, some wide receivers that were talked about. A couple of guys that we haven't seen this year, Ja'Kai Douglas and Kentron Portier, both been out, and a lot of people have asked, when are these guys coming back? Well, we tried to allude to it. We tried to point to it as best as we could. We thought this would most likely be after the bye week. We didn't think that they would get rushed back for Clemson, but I think that those guys have starter-level potential. Kentron was your wide receiver 2 before Keon got picked up, and I've been told that Ja'Kai and Destin Hill were kind of battling it out for who would be that slot receiver. I think they love what Ja'Kai is able to bring from an athleticism standpoint. I think they love him there in that slot. Every time he's out there on the field, he's making massive plays. You think back to Notre Dame in 2021. You think back to the Miami game that year. You think back to his touchdown against Georgia Tech where Jordan Travis found him after scrambling around forever. Mike Norvell also seemed pretty excited, had a little bit more pep in his step when he spoke about this one at the press conference as well. Let's play that clip.
Well, Ja'Kai, he practiced last night. I think, what that workload is going to look like. I mean, but we're definitely excited about getting him. As he's getting back, Kentron is one that we've missed too. I mean, he's been out for the better part of this season so far, and having 2 guys that were pushing to be starters. Ja'Kai started a lot of games here. Kentron's made a lot of great plays here. We've been down a few guys now. Others have stepped up, and I think we played at a good level there. But man, I'm excited to see those guys get out on the field, and I think they're going to continue to build to our depth and to the playmaking ability that we have, and definitely excited for what they're going to bring here as we continue on in the year.
There's been a lot of talk about both Keon and Johnny and the way that we focused on them a ton. And Florida State likes its depth out at wideout, and I think Clemson did a really good job on Jaheim Bell. But I think getting veteran guys like Ja'Kai and Kentron back there in the lineup just takes some of that pressure off your top 2. Not that the top 2 haven't done a great job. I think Johnny had 95 yards against Clemson, and Keon had, 86, something like that. Maybe memory is a little bit off there. But I think that getting those other guys back who are able to step in and be kind of starter-level roles, you don't have guys in there that have been on campus for just a few months. I think that'll be really, really big for the Noles, and I think that getting both of them back will be massive. Deuce Spann missed the last game, which, being up there at Clemson, I don't even know that I fully noticed that because, again, Clemson set us up next to God in the very top of the stadium, so appreciate them for doing that to our boosters. But Deuce Spann being out, I think he adds a different dimension as well. You've seen him in some fun plays so far this year. His speed is obviously next level, one of the fastest guys on the team. Getting all 3 of those wide receivers back, again, really, really big. I expect big things out of our young guys, Destin, Hakeem, Vandevers, Goldie. I think there's a lot of talent there, but I also think that you want to rely on some of your big-time stars. You want to get them in as much action as you possibly can because you're going to need them during that stretch run. You're going to need that depth as the year goes on. They love what Kentron can bring to this team. They love his size and athleticism, and they also, we talked about it and kind of highlighted what Ja'Kai is for this offense. So really excited to have almost a fully healthy lineup back out there. Again, you've kind of made it through the toughest part of the schedule pretty healthy. Hopefully, the Noles can go out and take care of business on Saturday, put Virginia Tech away pretty early, get Jordan Travis out of the game close to, if not maybe just a drive or 2 after halftime so that he can continue to rest up. Hearing good reports about his shoulder, obviously non-throwing, but thinking that he's a little bit stronger. Don't expect him to run a lot. Don't expect that to be needed against Virginia Tech. But I do think that the Noles try to get to the back third of this schedule. They're a third of the way through. They've played their 2 most physical games. Get through this middle third, which I think you feel good about. You don't feel like that's going to be an extremely physical third so that you can get to that back half where you play Pitt, Miami, North Alabama, and Florida. A couple of rivals and a really physical, although not good, Pitt team on the road in November. Let's get to that back half of the schedule fully healthy. I think that'll be key for the Noles trying to accomplish the goals that they have of the ACC championship and at this point the playoff as an expectation. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for watching. Again, good updates from Mike Norvell. Jives with a ton of what we've been hearing as far as when guys would get back. We told you the wide receivers after the bye. Again, thought Dent would be for the Clemson game. Didn't work out. Excited to see him back out there against Virginia Tech this weekend. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being subscribed. Come join us on Saturday at the tailgate outside of Doak Campbell. Get your tickets at doublefriesnoslaw.com.